Start your sublight engines, it's time for RuPaul's Pod Race, a queer Star Wars podcast. Welcome to our discussion of episode 5 of the Acolyte, Night. My name is Melvin. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on social media at Melvin Culpa. And this week, my gender is Filipinos. We are so back. Finally, we're not just the Ewok language.
So true! So true!
My name is Ollie. I use any pronouns. You can find me on social media at Ollie Fresh with a PH. And my gender this week is Mae and Osha working it out on the remix. They say they've got the same hair.
Oh, wait.
To quote the hit song "Girl So Confusing," the version with Lorde by Charli XCX featuring Lorde. I'm just saying, if you haven't listened to that song, you should go listen to it. But I'm saying that song is literally about them. I think you might hate me. They always are doing stuff together, and then it's like, oh, but the vibes are weird.
It's just self-defense until you're
until you're building a weapon.
When I was 10, they said you walk like a bitch.
That's exactly what the fuck I'm saying. That song is literally their song.
Also, if you listen to a gay Star Wars podcast and you haven't already listened to Brat, like that Venn diagram is a circle.
This goes out to Charles, if you're listening. I know you have not listened to Brat yet.
Charles hasn't listened to
There's
Brat?
someone in this podcast that also has not listened to Brat.
Oh my god.
What is Brat?
What is Brat?
It's Charli XCX's. It's Claudia. When did you listen to Brat?
I've been listening to it for like the past week, however long since it came out.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I was being a hater. It's Charli XCX's new album, and it's kind of like, it's like electronic. It's got some kind of like, it's not a lot of house elements, but it kind of samples some house elements. It has a really interesting like hyperpop inspiration, in my opinion. It's a really fun album, and the gays are eating it up.
And the lyrics are wild.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm also pretty sure that Noah created the world's funniest edit to Von Dutch from that album. I can't, for the life of me, remember if it is Von Dutch, but I keep remembering it in my mind's eye just because he sent it to me, and it's just like the best thing I've ever seen.
Also, I have to add, Mel and I have talked about this extensively, but I feel like the song Von Dutch would play during a scene from the live action version of Convergence while Axel Greylark is getting kicked out of places, doing coke and like party drugs and stuff, and then it culminates in him in that scene in the beginning of Convergence where he's playing cards and losing.
Okay, but
okay,
wait.
Well, if you're describing it like that, now I gotta listen. Because...
Wait, okay, but isn't Apple kind of his song? Think about it.
Shut the fuck up.
Think about
Shut
it.
the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Don't piss me off.
I'm just saying. Listen, okay, if you don't know about Brat, it's like, oh my god, we're going to the club, but then there's like a song about intergenerational trauma. And then there's a song about how like maybe we were told to hate each other because of an industry. Never mind, actually we love each other. Girl, we're working it on the remix. Much to think about. There's also a song where she's like, sometimes I think about like, do I want to have a kid? I don't know. Anyway. And you're like, damn. I feel like this is like when Meg Thee Stallion came out with her song where she was like, yeah, and I'm depressed all the time. And everyone was like, are you good? Us pitching Brat to Jess is so good.
Also, mind you, only I have introduced myself. If this is someone's first episode, you know that Mel is there, and then two voices that sound somewhat alike just talked about Brat.
Beloved, I have to tell you, the reason we started talking about this was because I introduced myself.
That's my wife.
My wife. Hi, my name is Claudia. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me on social media at Kaludia Says, Kaludia Says. I had 3 genders today, but I gotta go with the first one that popped into my brain when I was watching it, which I thought of, forgot to write down, and then something occurred in the episode where I blacked out, so I forgot about it, and I had to go back and like rewatch it, but then I remembered my gender is Jedi Kebab. The Jedi Kebab move that Qimir pulled, spoilers, when he, because as soon as he did it, I was like, And I was so blinded by how hot he is that I didn't think about how I was like, how did he do that? How did he do that? Like, he just was like, okay, 2 for 1. An efficient king, one might say. Kebab via lightsaber. I think they should sell that at Galaxy's Edge.
No, we're moving on.
Watch out, Ronto Raps.
Okay. I'm Jess. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on social media at Kawaii Jessio. And my gender this week... Well, now I'm like rethinking my gender.
Oh, tell us the original one.
My original gender was gonna be Jackie got 3-hole punched.
Oh.
But...
Indubitably.
Shit. Damn.
Yeah. Sorry to Jackie. I mean, I could say my gender actually is hooray swagapinos. Again. Although I'm still on the fence about, I'm like, do I think this character is hot? Everyone else is like, yeah, so hot. And I'm just like, I feel nothing.
You know, it's kind of messed up. You know, we have an episode where people are talking about this hot man, and I just got a transmission from Noah. He's not gonna be here because he's currently locked in a battle. But it sounds like it's going really good for him. So hopefully it'll be fine. We'll find out next week. But he wanted me to know that his gender is, quote, the real good place is Manny Jacinto's pits.
I hate Noah. I hate Noah.
was waiting for that.
I knew exactly. You know what? It's so funny because when I saw it, I texted Noah. I said, I know you're not going to be here. Like, what's your gender so I can present it? And he said exactly what I thought he was going to say. Almost word for word.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be about Manny Jacinto's goddamn armpits, which is so troubling. Because, like, it's like, what the things that I know about him is that he's going to talk about armpits and he's going to talk about Catholicism, even though he is Jewish. Like, I don't know how it happens, but every episode, one of those two things happens.
Well, now you've brought it up.
Yeah.
So now
let's talk about Catholicism.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, guys.
Speaking of Catholicism,
Soul has become Catholic. He needs to find God after that.
Speaking of Catholicism, I don't know what religion is. The arms. Sorry.
I think we should cancel Claudia
No,
again.
because I have to confess to you guys. I watched the episode with...
confession?
I watched the episode with my friend Kesh and then my partner Claire. Me and Kesh, we both like blacked out, and the whole time we were like, hey! And Claire was like, are you guys good? Normally, the two horny people watching are Kesh and Claire. Me? That's what, I mean, I love a hot man on screen, don't get me wrong, but like, I'm not usually that person. So for me to be the one where they were like, girl, you need to get it together, something came over. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what occurred. I don't know what... For those of you who may understand this reference, it's kind of like, you know, the tweet about Nanami in the Shibuya arc where people were like, I'd show Shibuya a real incident. That's me about Qimir. There's an episode of JJK that you may have seen it. A screenshot of.
I haven't. I actually haven't seen it in a shocking
Yeah, I
turn of
haven't
events.
seen it either.
Where Nanami does some crazy shit.
Anyways, The Acolyte, episode 5. I honestly, I'm going to say something as kind of controversial. I don't think we have much to talk about this episode because as handsome as Manny Jacinto is, a lot of people died. People died, lives were changed. A parent trappening is happening. Very troubling.
It was so clear how this was part of an episode that was split in half, considerably because every episode except for the flashback one had like a title that was like this/this, And this was, the first half was day and the other half was night. And I was like, yeah, it would have been day/night. And that's also why we have like less to talk about, because I'm like, yeah, because it was clearly an episode cut in half.
Yeah, it was. I want to say, I feel like one of the biggest issues that I'm having with this show, I'm going to say, I'll say my piece now, just because I don't want to like bring anybody down, because I'm enjoying watching the show, but I feel like I don't know what I'm getting from it. Does that make sense? Like, I think it's like, I'm having a lot of fun. I think the characters are fun, but I don't feel like it's having a huge impact other than like a few of the performances, because I think the pacing is so weird, where it's like we've gone from, I feel like characters in the show are obsessed with going places in the way that I'm like, why did, like, the pacing around the writing of, okay, we need to get the bugs to the fight. So let's have Yord and Mae walk all the way back and then have them come all the way back. Or not Mae, I'm sorry, Osha. Have them walk there, come all the way back, which is fine. Like, I think it makes sense why they did that, but I almost feel like it could have been like, they're fighting, Osha's like, hang on, it takes 2 seconds for her to run, grab the bugs, and come back. Or like I feel like a lot of the fight scenes were really good, but it would cut at places where I was like, I feel like you're kind of making it feel a little less fluid. That being said, I do think all of the sequences themselves were really well directed and were very visually interesting. So I'm also interested, because this is what, a 10 episode show?
9?
Or is it 8 episodes?
I'm pretty sure it's 8.
I think it's 8.
Okay. So I'm curious as to how this is going to get wrapped up in a satisfying way in 2 episodes. And I think that's like, I think that's a symptom of streaming.
That would be 3. That'd be 3 episodes.
I can't count famously. But I think it'll just be interesting to see how they wrap that up and like how you put a satisfying ending. And I know Leslie has said like this might not be the only season, but regardless, I think that the streaming structure has really fucked a lot of shows, because it's like, these episodes are so short, clearly should have been 1 episode, but now we have this huge thing where it was like, I could tell that because they had to cut the episode in half, they had to pad out this episode with stuff. And it was like, again, like I said, the scene with, I liked getting more characterization for Yord, and I liked him and Osha's little banter, but it was mainly pointless. And I also think that I'm thinking back to the last episode where I'm like, they spent a lot of time walking that they didn't need to spend walking.
You know, my joke about it being the 2 towers may have been a little too on the nose.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. They really hit the Pentagon with this episode. So, sorry. That's our 9/11 joke quota. But that's my point. That's my real point, is that I guess the long story short is that I am really enjoying the show, but I wish this had 15 episodes, if I'm honest. Because I think one more issue that I had, it was really sad when Yord and when Jecki died, especially when Jecki died. Sorry, Yord. I love Yord, but like, I was really sad when both of them died. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I wasn't that sad. Because I was like, we've had like 3 episodes with these characters, and I think that the fandom has really like blown them up to be fully rounded characters. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's great. I think it's nice when you can engage with something you enjoy and make it not necessarily more than what it is, but look deeper into what it can be. But because I haven't been like participating in the fandom as much, I felt like these characters were like surface level and like had a lot of like, the thing I'm the most upset about is that I feel like Jecki and Yord both had a lot of potential to be really interesting, and Jecki especially was like really fun and really cool, and like had like the best fight scene in maybe all of live action.
She ate that shit up.
But no, she did, and I want to talk about it more. But then it's like you kill her off, and I know that it's like, oh, for the emotional effect and to show you like, oh, anyone can die, this, if the characters are all safe, then what's the fun? But I'm like, I would have liked for us to have them for a little longer so we could feel their deaths a little more. Anyway, my point is, we need to have longer seasons. Please, God.
I think, to me, especially with Yord and Jecki, I feel like that was almost the point, is that they were Jedi cut down in their prime and they had a lot of potential and we never get to see it. Much like how we don't get to see much of the like light of the Jedi because it is currently being cut down. That being said, and you all are going, I hear the collective groan now, but it is actually quite similar to a discourse people have been having about JJK for years at this point. I promise it's relevant. I made a joke where I was just like, I think if Star Wars fans watched like any popular like anime or manga or whatever where bitches are just dying left and right, like they'd lose their mind, because like just Jackie and Jordan and some red shirts dying, like the girls were crying on the TL. And don't get me wrong, I'm sad about it, whatever, but like I guess I'm jaded. I was like, yeah, that seems about right. But there's this ongoing conversation that happens in JJK fandom, and it's happened with some other stuff, whatever, of like, how many characters is too many characters to kill, and then is it just not fun anymore? And I remember this happening with Game of Thrones as well, where it's just like, you know, what are we doing here? Like, and especially with JJK, like, it has a problem where it has a pace that is like just so fucking fast, and we don't have a lot of time with certain characters. A big piece of that story is that we don't get to learn about them because they are being cut down in their prime, and that's a part of what the story is about. And I kind of see that here. The problem is that is more happening because of what Ollie said, that there's just not enough episodes because of the streaming model than anything else. So like there's a part of me that's like used to it, that's like, yeah, that's the point. And then there's a part of me that like kind of agrees, that is like, yeah, that kind of sucks. But I will be interested to see how I feel about it once I see the rest of the season, to see of like how big of a part were they meant to be? Were they meant to be that big of a part of it? I mean, we're about halfway through, so I guess. Or were they meant to really be those like small characters who die at the end, a Qui-Gonification? I know that it's also the like the changing of expectations, because we all thought Soul was gonna die, which he may still die, who knows? But anyway.
Not if I have anything to do with it. I jump into my TV and start beating the shit out of Manny Jacinto to protect him.
Oh, Manny Jacinto, you're too sexy, no!
Not to me. No offense, I think he's a handsome man, but I'm a lesbian, so he has no effect on me. I'm just saying, if I was there, I would have stopped him. Like, you know what I will say I did really like about this episode? I like that it was a fight. I like that it was just a big fight. I think that Star Wars, it's like, I feel really bad because I hate like comparing the shows because I think they're very different. But I mean, I don't, because I love to tear down one of these shows. Not really, that's a joke. But I saw a clip of Jackie fighting dual wielding versus Ahsoka fighting dual wielding in the live action Ahsoka show. And I was like, oh my god, that's embarrassing for Ahsoka. Girl, like, I know she's older, her joints are starting to hurt. Maybe it's time to hang up the sabers, queen. Maybe, like, because Jackie was, that fight scene and that choreography was so freaking good. Daphne Keane, because I also know Daphne Keane and Manny Jacinto, like, a lot of people did a lot of their own stunts and did a lot of the combat. And I'm like, I am just perpetually impressed by the cast of this show.
And I don't want to hate on the cast of the Ahsoka show. Like, they did the best with what they were given. I did watch the Ahsoka show, and I remember one of my biggest gripes with it when I started was like, girl, what are we doing in these fights? Like, I remember we see Ezra Bridger for the first time in a very long time, and they decide to just not give him a lightsaber and have him just use the Force to push stuff around, which is like, that can be fine, but it was so fucking anticlimactic. And then I watched this, and this actually made me depressed about it. I was like, I could have seen Ahsoka and Ezra Bridger in live action doing this shit. I mean, welcome back, Ahsoka, because I got dual wielding both with Qimir and also with Jackie. But I was like, the fights also, there's a lot of people online who are like, well, I thought this was shit, but this was kind of peak or whatever. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. An interesting thing that I read in an article though was that Leslie had to kind of fight for this much of a fight to happen, because somebody, like, a note that she was given was like, don't you think that this might be too much fighting? And she's like, no, the girls are gonna eat it up. And to that I say, like, I feel so listened to, I feel so loved. And like, when I've said before that like she knows what the girls and the gays want, like, she does, because she is a Star Wars and like she gets it. But also, who the fuck at Lucasfilm is like, yeah, I think people would get a little bored during a lightsaber fight? It's fucking Star Wars. What is wrong with you?
No, I'm like, have they not, listen, not to give the fandom menace their props, but like, have they not realized that 90% of what those bitches talk about is like power scaling and about the best fights in Star Wars? Like, guys, that's kind of the whole, like,
They love Revenge of the Sith, which has like a 20-minute long lightsaber fight.
That's what I'm saying. And people, like, I'm sorry, one of the reasons that I don't watch the Clone Wars for the story 90% of the time, I watch it because it looks cool. No offense to the Clone Wars. I do think that there are very good, compelling plot lines, blah, 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 whatever. I do really like the Clone Wars. But, like, the thing about the Clone Wars is that it's, like, the sequences, and I think, like, one of the reasons that Ahsoka is such a really, like, cool, compelling character is how much her fighting style is interlocked and, like, is intertwined with who she is as a person and how it evolves over time, and like the amazing feats that you get to see the Jedi do when they're in combat. Like, that's one of the reasons that the Clone Wars was so good. And I think that's one of the reasons why, like, you know, like, especially in more like when we show like the Jedi in their prime, I think it is a really interesting idea to be like, oh, we're gonna focus on like these Jedi might not fight as much, but when they do fight, they're here to beat fucking ass, you know? Like, I think that's a very, like, integral part. I don't know. I liked the scene. It's more like, the complaints I have about it, I've already said, but it's like, it's less about that the scene was too long and more that I'm like, oh, you're gonna make them split the episode in half and then get mad when one episode is fighting. Interesting.
I think it also represents some of the best of Star Wars when, like, a fight scene or something is storytelling in the style, in the, you know, whatever it is. Like, you were talking about how they've used storytelling with Ahsoka, whatever. Like, is in this episode, or maybe it was in the last one, like, we show Jecki training and then we see her whipping ass against a Sith, and, like, who they say in the same episode being like she was a child. So it's like, I feel like that is a show don't tell storytelling thing of like, yeah, the Jedi are in their fucking prime. A child is beating ass. And yeah, she got her ass beat, but they said it was because he doesn't fight by any specific thing. Although I did see some people like analyzing his fight style and think like that he does have a specific one that the Jedi don't really know, whatever. And Master Soul also was kicking ass. Like, the fight actually between Jecki and Mae was also phenomenal as well. Like,
when she rolled up and kicked the shit out of her,
damn,
that was funny as fuck. I was laughing.
And the feeling that I got from this was a lot like when I was a kid, or when a lot of people watch like the Duel of the Fates, which Leslie said, she said this, when they watched the Duel of the Fates fight for the first time, and you're fucking asleep for the rest of the Phantom Menace, and then you're fucking awake during that fight, cause and the actors talked about how they train their ass off to do it for a long time, whatever, and you could tell, and it's so memorable, and it's so crazy, and it's really fast, and you're like, and I'm like, yeah, it was cool. I will say, my one criticism was this show as a whole, I love that I can see most of the time, but most of the time, not all the time. I would say if you watch this show in the daylight, it's a little dark, and all the screenshots are a little dark for a reason. If you watch it on your HD TV at night with no fucking lights on, you can see everything, but I'm like, Manny Jacinto did not work out and look that sexy and them work for that long on those fights for it to be that fucking dark. I am so sorry. Like, I needed to be a little lighter, mostly so I could see his sexy arms, but also because I needed to see that fight in better quality. That being said, most of this show, I do appreciate how you can see. Like, there were scenes where I was like, oh, I love that I can see. And then there were other scenes where I was like, girl, what is going on? But that might have been because I wanted to see more of Qimir. Who can say?
A lot also happens in this episode, like, other than the fight. Like, there are a lot of beats that I think are really interesting. Like, I'm gonna consult my notes. One thing I think that was really fun to me that I realized was I was looking at Mae's cloak, and I don't think it's in this episode because she kind of ditched that. Do you think that her cloak was made from the cloaks of the other sisters in the coven? Like, yeah, right? We can all agree
it's
that
patchwork,
that's the case.
right?
Yeah. That's not upsetting at all. That doesn't make me sad. But I do think that what it's setting up for Mae and Osha here is really interesting. I loved the callback to Revenge of the Sith. They turned you against me. Like, okay, speak on that. But yeah, I thought that it's really interesting. I'm very excited to see where it goes, because I think that I've seen a lot of people theorizing that, like, it's gonna be a Mae ends up going with the Jedi, and fucking Basil's gonna be like, what the fuck, you are not Osha, but he can't communicate because Yord was the only one who could speak that language. But I think that it's gonna be almost like she sees from the Jedi's perspective, and then Osha, who was like, wait, what did he mean, Soul, is now gonna become like the Acolyte. Because also, Leah at Deus Ex Valorante on Twitter pointed out that she was the one who completed the final trial, which was to stop someone without a weapon. And she did do that with the bugs.
The whole thing, though, is to kill a Jedi without a weapon, and she didn't kill any Jedi without a weapon, though.
Well, she did defeat him, though. Like, she did stop what is he called? The Stranger. She did stop the Stranger.
What's he called? My fucking boyfriend. What are you talking about? That's sorry. I told you guys that would be insufferable.
Boo, tomato.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this show, honestly. I mean, I'm having a good time watching it. But, and I see a lot of stupid discourse online, so I'm just like, what if I just quietly stay in my little lane over here, away from all of you?
I've had a very fun time with it away from the discourse. I feel like I look at the discourse through like a little porthole, and then I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Anyway, this people say a lot of things, and I'm like, whatever. I'm having a jolly old time. I will say, I know that Mae has the tattoo thing on her head. So it's going to be quite clear which one is which. I also think both Qimir and Soul, I think they know that it's the wrong one. Soul, I could see something in his eyes that he was like, wait a minute. And also that's his Padawan. He would be able to feel that that's not her in the Force. I do think that there's going to be something interesting with the fact that he says, like, I was going to tell you, and then Osha's not going to find out the truth, but Mae will find out the truth. Very interesting stuff. I also think it was very odd that maybe Qimir doesn't know Soul, whatever, but he was talking about him in a way that I'm like, what do you guys know each other? Like, what's going on?
So here's the thing about that, because I've seen people. Here's the discourse of the week that really got on my gears. Was everyone theorizing things about the nature of, like, Qimir and Soul's for better or worse relationship? Because first of all, obviously they know each other first and foremost because of the interaction with the Torben murder, death, what have you, whatever you want to call it. But I think that Qimir was able to kind of get that dig in on Soul because Mae is trauma dumped. Like, she gave the information to the ammunition, if you will, to Qimir. In talking about what makes her angry, what is her driving force, getting all that kind of stuff. Which makes me even more concerned because I know for a fact Soul did some fuck shit. Because what's going on there? Yeah.
Yeah, because Soul is also, like, clearly, like, when he's like, oh, well, like, what did you do with your darkness? Clearly there was something in his eyes, like, something's up. Yeah. No. I'm very curious. I also was never under the assumption that the stranger, Manny Jacinto, I was never under the assumption that he didn't realize that was Osha. Like, I think that because if that was May, he would have been like, fuck you, bitch. Like, no, I think he knew.
As soon as he saw the tattoo,
that was Osha,
he knew.
Yeah, but even then, I feel like the things that he said, which I can't recall off the top of my head, but it seemed like he was
healed her
like,
wound and then was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I'm also part of army. Let's go."
But I think he was kind of like, okay, like, new beginnings, like, let's do it. Like, I think because he was saying, like, oh, it's how, like, strange how things end up. And I was like, I think that it really was, like, he was like, okay, well, May didn't work out, but you, come on.
That's exactly. I think it's the whole thing of they have very similar upbringing, except for, it's like, May was homeschooled, and Osha went to and left a charter school.
Charter school?
Listen, as the product of a charter school, here we go. Here's my
Jedi are KIPP charter schools?
First of all, who the fuck said KIPP? You said KIPP. I did not. Did you go to redacted classical school? No, I did. So I'm just saying, I think that Osha has a very large knowledge of early Western history, and that's it. So if anyone ever wants to talk about Hannibal Barca, she's got them facts stacked up, ready to go. No, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, I think that I don't want to. I find myself constantly saying I don't want to engage in theories, but I could definitely see this being kind of turning our assumptions on our head about who is good and who is bad. Because here's the thing that is interesting to me about May, and I'm excited to get to see her more as a character as opposed to just kind of like the killer, if you will. Wendy Williams is the killer. Is that like she's doing this from a place of love, as not as toxic as it is. Unfortunately, we don't have our resident twin expert, but I feel like it's just very twin core of her that she loves her sister so goddamn much.
I know. I don't want to delve too much into theories too, because like we have a few episodes left, and I don't want to like say my theory and then get proven wrong and be like, damn, I look stupid. But here I go anyway. Yeah, I am leaning into that theory of Osha will become the titular acolyte by the end of this. And there's some reasons I feel like that. One, well, yeah, now they've done the whole Parent Trap switcheroo where May has gone with Soul and Osha has been left behind with Qimir, the stranger. Because now I'm like, is Qimir even your real name? Probably not, huh?
His real name is William.
It's like Craig Duke. Every Sith has to have some fucking regular ass name.
Oh, Craig. But no.
I think that's actually just Manny Jacinto, guys. Like, I think that's just, he can just do that.
No, what if his name is Manet?
Please.
Manet.
His character, that's his name now.
And he is from the planet Canadia.
Shut up. No, but
Please.
In the flashback episode to their like childhood, isn't Osha the one who's originally choking out the small little creature first before May shows up?
Yeah.
So and the fact that she left the Jedi on her own because they said she couldn't like get rid of that like anger and like those feelings she had. So you can see already that she has trouble with that like those more darker feelings in her. So that's why I'm just like, yeah, I can see it where Osha in the end is going to become the acolyte to the stranger.
Yeah, I think that time and time again we've seen through this series that Osha is aware of her attachment and how it negatively impacts her. But when what I'm really what I think could potentially happen is that next episode, if we get the soul reckoning, episode where he's kind of like, okay, so this is actually what happened was, I feel like we might get Qimir's version of like, so this is what happened.
Qimir's version?
And maybe
You
is
don't
Qimir
reference
like
that-
no, here's the
Don't
thing.
reference that woman on this show.
It's because she's
I
evil.
think she should.
It's because she's evil, like a
I
Sith
think-
Lord.
We can't be doing this. We can't be the next Dave Grohl, Claudia.
Oh wow. I can't handle this. What I was gonna say is I was gonna make a joke that Manny Jacinto, the stranger, Qimir, William, whatever we want to call him next week, Riley. I don't know why Riley was my first go-to. I don't know. Is that his flight records? He is like single-handedly like wasting all of the gas. The gas? Yeah, that's gas, right? In the ships? I don't know. It's not important.
It's some kind of fuel.
Fuel, that was the word I was looking for. I was like, gas.
I feel like you kind of lost the metaphor in the end there. No offense.
Okay, I'm sorry. Not all of us are funny.
I think you're funny.
think you're
also
funny,
just
Mel.
realized
Thanks.
I have a pop-up in the corner of my screen right now that has actually been there since we started recording that says Fisto Friday tomorrow, and I forgot about that. So I just thought I'd let you guys know a little
Oh my
part in the
gosh, I
curtain.
miss Fisto Friday.
Happy Fisto Friday, everyone, almost. And if you're listening to this on Sunday, later. But I think something that's really interesting, I've just had this horrible vision of Manny Jacinto being like, here's what actually happened, Osha. And Osha being like, oh my god, you're right, I need to, or whatever, becoming radicalized against the Jedi. And there were still 4 other Jedi there. Like, there were 4 Jedi there. And there's one Jedi that still has to get taken out. Do we think there's going to be an Osha Soul duel to the death?
I fear it. I mean, the parallels with Anakin they're there.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I can't wait for that.
But the other thing too, though, is that I'm thinking is that you were talking about, Mel, about Osha being like, I can't do the whole Jedi thing because I'm too caught up on what happened. You know who I think we saw a really interesting example like of, and this is like, I'm really interested to see like how this gets portrayed. But his soul, when he saw like Jeki had been killed, he was fighting with a rage, and Osha had to stop him from killing the stranger. I think it's really interesting that it's like, I'm curious to see if that will be, if it will be addressed, or if it'll just be a more subtle aspect of his character. But if it is addressed, will it be a like, because in other parts of the High Republic, it's been like, well, Jedi do feel these emotions, but it's important to be able to cope with them. So the question will be like, is he going to cope with that emotion? Is that something that, like, that rage, that anger, is that natural, or is that something that Soul has been dealing with? Like, is that an aspect to him?
Well, historically, when Jedi Masters have an issue on a planet that has a forest, they usually run into it, but Soul ran out of it. So what I'm saying is that he and Cohmac Vitus should talk. They should talk it out. They should work it out on the remix. Those bitches. Let's talk about it.
No, he's so Cohmac Vitus coded, because also thinking about that part in Midnight Horizon where Cohmac is like beating the shit out of those guys and like killing people, and Cantum's like, whoa, oh, okay, guys, like, was that not Osha and him in this episode?
Speaking of another slay Filipino in Star Wars,
Cantum
Sai.
Sai.
Yes.
Cantum Sai's Filipino?
Yeah.
Yes.
To us.
I mean,
to
it
us.
makes
I
sense.
actually
It makes
No,
sense.
canonically is designed to be half Filipino, half Japanese. So
I know the big thing that a lot of people are talking about, other than his sexy arms, is I will say, he ate the girls up when Soul was like, she was a child, and he was like, and you brought her here. And you brought her here. And I was like, you know what? And some people pointed out that it was interesting that Yord Yord, who follows the rules, who's very whatever, Yord did not bring his Padawan. Now, his Padawan might be younger than Jackie or whatever, but like, but I have to say, like, he, and I will also say, when people are like, well, what's the difference between him and other characters, whatever, I'm like, he's just evil because he's silly. Also, I will also say he was giving a little bit of the same motivation as kind of a Marcion Rwoh, where he's like, I just want to be who you are, but unfortunately the being who I am is murdering people, so unfortunately. I will also say that my previous theory that I think he is the Acolyte, and he has a master. Oh my god, he is back.
Oh my gosh.
Deep
he
cut.
is the Acolyte.
He said, some may call me Sith. It kind of recalled to me how Maul was like, I'm not a Sith anymore, but like you call me that, but like I'm not, but like okay. I do still think that it's gonna be a thing of that, like he might be like a wannabe Sith, and a part of that is that you have to basically get your own apprentice and then kill your master. So I'm sure that's why he's like, oh, I'm trying to get my own little apprentice so I can, which I have heard from the Legends girlies also is a thing that happens in Legends, and Leslie loves Legends, so I just think that he's like, yeah, I just want to kill bitches, and I need a special little student to do it. So anyway, Qimir, I'm free.
Anyway, yeah, thumbs down, me and Mel, to Claudia. I also wanted you bringing up the whole thing with people were like, oh, he ate that up about like she was just a child while you brought her here. Well, because they weren't thinking that like some fucked up little force, like dark side person was gonna show up and like kill some bitches. So that really
we're going after a murderer who they knew was force sensitive.
Well, yeah,
May.
but like they didn't think like Mr. like fucking again FNAF animatronic looking motherfucker mask was gonna fly down from the sky and like literally like kill all of them, because they're like, if there's enough of us, I think this should be fine.
Also, it is kind of established, like, Jackie is kind of getting to the age where they're like, okay, it's time for you to, like, leave the temple. We're gonna start bringing you on missions and stuff. Listen, I do think there is some really interesting commentary about the Jedi, especially, like, as we, like, edge closer and closer to the prequels, about being like, oh, they're bringing their children into combat. Like, yeah, that's fucked up. But I also think it's interesting that it's like right now where we're at, like, especially because this is not like them bringing her into a war zone. I think if anything, the line's more foreshadowing. But it's kind of like they didn't bring her into a war zone. They brought her to something that they, considering they'd fought Mae before, they had gauged her skill. They knew what they were up against, they thought. Whatever. But I think it was Emily at Stardust M on Twitter was like, yeah, he, like, you brought her here, but he killed her. Like, that's on you. Like, you killed a child. Like, that's it, if Jackie's a child. Because I think Jackie is, like, a young adult, but is, like, a teen. But the point is
what
like,
murder? Sorry. I'm sorry.
But it's like I'm trying to talk, Claudia. Anyway. But it's like he was the, like, you can't start suddenly being like, I can tell the Jedi what to do. I can tell the Jedi that they're bad. It's like, okay, well, we're both in the ground, Like, you're, like, maybe, this is the thing. I feel like everyone's like, oh, the Jedi are catching so many strays. The Jedi are bad. I'm like, the Jedi aren't, like, let's not pretend they're at the same level. Like, the Jedi might not be perfect. And honestly, there are a lot of times, especially as we go further and further and they interlock more with the Republic, they might not even be good. But they're sure as hell better than the Sith, so let's keep that rolling. Let's keep that straight.
Well, I mean, I think the other thing to consider is that, like, at the core of what the Sith are, they're, like, selfish, self-absorbed assholes. So, like, what? A self-absorbed, shitty asshole has a comeback. Whoa, never heard that one before. That's wild. So like, I don't know. I do think it was he did kind of eat it up, but I was also like, okay, says the guy who could not afford a long sleeve shirt.
Couldn't afford? That was a couture fucking outfit.
He couldn't afford one.
Boo.
I'm just saying his Shein helmet from the Planet from Thrawn Alliances couldn't handle Yord bonking him on the head, or bonking him. What happened there? Was
Twisted.
it Jackie? Someone
It was
dated
Jackie.
him. I know, but I just remembered. Oh, I think Yord broke his little arm bracer, but they still hit him real good. So he's gonna have to go to the shop. He's gonna have to go get that repaired.
Yeah.
And that, imagine, no, this is what I've been thinking about. I'm not gonna lie. I've been thinking about this since the episode finished. I was like, imagine being just like a normal like blacksmith, and this Manny Jacinto just rolls up on you and is like, "Can you fix this, please?" And you're like, "What the fuck is this?"
I think from those arms, I think he has to do his own blacksmithing. Because nobody's going to deal with that shit.
But still, unless he has like a forge just on his ship, okay, Taylor Swift ass.
No, he could have a house on a planet. You don't know.
No, I'm just imagining him rolling up to his rented out studio that he uses as a forge, and being like, okay, I'm gonna work on this now. But imagine being the neighbor, being like, oh, this asshole, he's back, he's going bonk, bonk, bonk all night. Shut the fuck up.
Mel's new
I'm just
Acolyte OC, Qimir's annoyed neighbor.
This is
And his
the
name?
other-
J.R. Tar.
And exactly. I was gonna say he's like Kevin Tar senior, like multiple generations back.
Junior,
but
junior, because it's after.
I don't know. No,
It's after.
Oh my god, it is after, isn't
Yeah.
it? Okay, yeah, never mind. Oh, fuck me, I guess. I forgot when the Acolyte
Kevin
took
Tar
place.
the
I was
eighth?
started- I'm sorry that I started thinking about phase 2 again. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I miss her. I miss her so much.
The idea of this happening during phase 2, they're all screaming, crying, throwing up. No, that's what I'm waiting for. Because Leslie, you keep telling us that you've read The High Republic, which, like, granted, I believe it. This is not me trying to like check Leslie Headland. Trust, I've got other things to check her about. Anyways,
Bring it up. Discuss it.
I don't want to. I'm trying to have a good time. I'm not strong enough. However, I think that the Nameless should come up. I think that one of the Nameless little babies should go and eat Qimir. Just like, snap, eat him.
That would be really funny. I'm sorry.
Why are we saying no? Why are you saying no? We want his ass dead in a ditch.
Not me, though.
Okay, not Claudia, but
I'm so sorry.
the other three
I
on
didn't
the
even
podcast
process
right now.
Yord and Jackie's death properly because I was like, "Hey, there's something wrong
my
with
god.
me."
I feel like we've gathered a council of people who are not attracted to
Noah's
Qimir,
not here to
and
help
like,
me.
and Noah's not here to help the. Oh my god! I must have something so mean. He's not doing his service to the elderly right now. Poor Mima is getting her ass beat.
I wanted to say, I want to see Vernestra and Qimir fight. Whip his ass, like, literally.
I'm so nervous about that is the problem, Jess. Because, yes, I do want to see them fight.
I know she
style.
doesn't have plot armor anymore.
Actually doesn't have plot armor anymore, which stresses me the fuck out. But speaking of that, I just remembered. Well, I didn't just remember. I've been thinking about basically since this episode came out, which whatever. Point is, think about when Vernestra and Imri's like, I'm evil now. Fuck you, Vernestra. And she's like, okay, Imri, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. You have one chance to back the fuck up before I roll up on you. And he's like, no, fuck you, Vernestra. And she's like, okay. And then she fucking whips his ass. And his lightsaber, meow, yawn, now, give it to me now. And I wish she could do that. I wish she could do that in this show. I wish that the plot twist, the real plot twist that we haven't been looking out for, is that she kills Qimir. She is the Acolyte. Who's the Acolyte? Is Vernestra Rwoh. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
The amount of theories I saw of people being like, maybe Vernestra is Darth Teeth. I'm like, what are you talking about? Also, I would love the idea of Vernestra being like, Mae coming back to the Jedi, and them being like, you're Mae, you're not Osha. And Vernestra being like, listen, girl, I had a Padawan who had some issues. So just be better and I won't have to, like, lay your ass down. Like, that's how we get an Imri Cantero's mention, guys. It's coming. It's coming. I trust it'll be here.
Vernestra's the queen of giving out stupid prizes to those who play stupid games.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. No, but, I also saw some dumb motherfuckers being like, oh, I hope she's not like another stupid little green bitch who will cover this up. I'm just like, you do not compare Vernestra Rwoh to anything Yoda did, okay? And I will come on this podcast again and say that I like Yoda, okay? Even though he's done some stupid shit, I think he's a funny little guy. And I am a Muppet and like stupid little puppet enjoyer, so fucking OG Yoda looking like a stupid little Muppet, I thought he was a funky little guy, even though, yeah, a lot of that shit could have been avoided, Yoda, if you had just told people some stuff. It's the same with, like, at the end of Phase 2, where Yoda's like, what if we just not tell anyone about the fucked up little dogs?
Here's the problem.
Yeah, do not compare Vernestra and Yoda like that. That's hateful.
So true. No, here's the problem with Yoda that I love him to death. Love him to death, don't get me wrong. He is wasting away in Margaritaville in a way that I don't think we talk about enough. He is too into Jimmy Buffett. You know? He's like, he retired to the Margaritaville on Dagobah. We need to be serious about that. We need to get a grip. That's what he's up to. That's the energy he brings to every conversation. Like, do I think he could have done more? Yes, but Your Honor, he could have a hamburger in paradise. Cheeseburger in paradise. Fuck.
Wasting away in Margaritaville, I am.
I want to see Yoda's stupid little ass and like Yarel Poof in this show.
I would like to see Yarel Poof. I'd like to see him.
They should kiss. What? Who
Shut
said that?
up. Shut
No,
up.
The tallest member of the order kissing the smallest.
I want-
Romance really is alive and well.
Didn't I talk to you about the freaking the Y polycule, which is like Yoda, Yaddle, and Yarel Poof? But
I forgot about that.
I will never forget about that.
Apple Rancistus is really mad that he can't get in on that, and I think that's why he's an asshole.
No, leave him out of that.
No, that's
He's
my
not part
point.
of that.
That's my
Stay
point.
mad.
Is that they don't want him in it, but that he's like bitter about it.
That's like literally my headcanon about Go Be Glee with the Syndulas. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
He wants in on that so bad, and they keep being like, "Oh, okay, Gobi. Yeah, maybe not this time." And he's like, "You have invited every other bitch on this planet, and not me. Wow, I thought we were friends. I guess we are just friends."
Unrelated. Sorry, Jess, I think this is a big day. I don't know if this is a big day for you personally. It's a big day in our household. Sims 3 and Sims
No,
3.
I
Sims 4
saw that. I was
announced
gonna
polyamory.
text you and I forgot, but I put it in the Discord before, the redacted
So
Discord
exciting.
with the
Big
others.
day. Big day
Yeah.
for people who love thruples.
Yeah, I saw the Sims 4, if y'all don't know, is getting a new expansion pack, but also a free update where they're finally adding polyamory to the Sims 4. But yeah, and the first people I thought about was like, one's Ollie Mel, and two is the Cheerad.
Why'd you think? I like that you thought it. I'm hoping you just thought of the two of us because we
No,
play
it's
The
just because
Sims.
Oh, 'cause you guys have the
you guys play the
polycule
Sims,
chart.
and then you also
So true. Okay,
That's why I
awesome.
thought
Never
about you
mind.
guys, and I think we had a conversation before, just like, why can't we have polycules in The Sims 4?
You guys don't understand. It's about to be so dark. You are not going to see me. I'm gonna be too busy playing The Sims with the Zebo polycule with Mira and Ephraim Bridger. Watch the fuck out. Watch this space.
And Ryder Azadi, I think, also should be there.
Yeah, he's also there, but I almost said
Ryder Azadi.
he just likes to watch.
You know what? You're right.
I almost said something also equally disturbing,
Say it.
and I don't think that the others know, because
Say it.
Mel knows what I'm gonna say. But
No.
that's very Stellan Gios of him. Anyway,
Yeah, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
My final thoughts on the episode, frankly, it was fine. I enjoyed the fights. Cool vibes. Well, not cool vibes, actually. Kind of definitively not cool. I got hella beef with Qimir for calling Jackie, referring to her with its pronouns. Her preferred pronouns are she, her.
The pronoun.
Go fuck yourself.
The pronoun discourse in this show is crazy. Or they.
I was gonna say or
They
they
do.
also.
they do have pronouns in Star Wars. Holy shit, that was a pronoun. Guys, we got our first. Is it first canonical misgendering? Intentional misgendering in
Not
Star
true.
Wars?
I was just about to say, first of all, no, it's not. I'm trying to remember what it was. There's obviously one of my favorite, no, first of all, the High Republic has the misgendering of
Oh, where
Tarek
Estella
and
Mar-
Sarah.
Oh, I remember that happens. Estella
Vernestra
Mar also gets...
Rwoh is canonically one of the only people in Star Wars who has misgendered someone.
Yeah, and the other person is the other person's Charles Soule, who misgendered Estella Maru in Light of the Jedi.
Wait, what did Vernestra say?
Okay, so
Don't you remember?
in the comics, she meets Tarek and Sarah and Keeve, and I can't remember exactly what happens, but Keeve is like, they use they them pronouns, bitch.
Why did
Sorry,
she
Vernestra.
She's basically like, oh, what's he doing? And Avar is the one who's like, not he, they. But they're also like in the middle of a fight, and I'm like, girl, listen, that's great that you're on top of pronouns, but like you guys are kind of like in the middle of like, this is not the most important. Like if someone misgendered me and was like, sorry, we're like actively fighting the Drangir, I'd probably be like, that's fine. It's okay.
No. Okay, sorry. Actually, one final last thought I have to bring, speaking of the Drangir, funny how Cohmac Vitus, that is his fault, the Drangir. We need to talk about that as a society. That is on him. You know what's also...
That's him coming back from a Maxine station telling the Jedi Order about it. He's like, we're all trying to find the guy who did this.
Literally. Anyways, that's his fault. And you know who Rupalps is at the fault of? Soul. Because if he had just gone, boop, off with your head, Queen of the Heart style, on old Darth Shidious, not Shidious.
Darth
the
Shidious?
teeth guy. Darth Shidious, that was what I was gonna call Qimir. I was trying to think of another name besides William or Riley, because come on,
You know,
I gotta...
William fits now because I keep looking at his helmet being, and again saying FNAF, and I'm pretty much Matronic looking ass. So yeah, you know what? His name is William now.
Sorry, not to bring William to a different level. In our home, we have a little scary little doll that was my deceased grandmother's named
right.
William. It could be that William too.
The doll.
I forgot about your grandmother's scary looking doll, William.
Scary little doll William. Much to think about.
But sorry to Yord Horde, Fly High King, and also Fly High Jackie. I only knew you for like a few episodes. You were fun while you lasted. I actually am not that beat up about it, but...
Damn!
No, I was just saying, yeah, I enjoyed it. It's happening, I guess.
I do think it would be really funny if Soul goes back to the Jedi and it's like, oh my god, there's a Sith. And they're like, girl, that is an ancient legend. We don't believe you. And that would explain why Kiadi Mundi's like, we haven't seen a Sith in such a long time. Because they just don't fucking believe his ass.
Kiadi Mundi was like, we haven't seen a Sith. Yeah, he was just looking the other way. He stopped to like tie his shoe or whatever and then was like, oh, there was a Sith here? Well, I haven't seen him.
He was too busy celebrating his birthday that occurs every leap year.
please. We can't talk about Mundi's birthday.
But again, yeah, he's just like, I don't really have a name, but you people, you Jedi might call me the Sith. But so just like, he might, again, not even be a Sith. He's just like, I'm just vibing. I'm doing my own thing. So.
I guess the last thing I will say, and I'm going to say, I do think he's a Sith, and I think it's pretty straightforward, because I remember there was an interview with Leslie Headland talking about, like, when the Acolyte was in early production, how she was talking about wanting to do a story about, like, well, how did the Sith get into power? Like, why were they, what happened, and why were they so, like, secretive? Like, how that happened, how they come to power under the Jedi's nose. And I think this is that story. And I'm interested to see where it goes.
Oh my gosh, this is the fucking Darth Sidious Plagueis lineage is fucking
That's
with
what I'm
Darth
saying.
shit ass over here. Sorry.
Darth fart ass.
What?
Oh my god, that's a deep cut.
That is.
Holy shit.
Oh
To
my
what?
gosh.
Fart ass.
to
oh
fart
my
ass.
god.
To the
Holy
best
shit.
clone trooper, fart ass.
Yeah.
The best clone trooper,
Yeah,
fart ass.
fart ass. It's been such a long time since we've talked about fart ass.
Fuck. Oh, I did hear there's somebody, I don't remember what tweet it was, but somebody said they were like, I hope that, like, yeah, he is in the like Plagueis Sidious lineage, but like there've been a lot of Sith lords since then, because they just have like the lifespan of a Roman emperor. They just keep dying because they keep killing each other. I think that's very in character for the Sith. I think that would be very funny. Anyway, my final thoughts are, I blacked out when I saw his art. I literally blacked out, and I was like, what's going on? And then I didn't. Me and Charlie, because Charlie was talking about it in an interview where he was like, they were like, how did it go? And they had to film his death. And he was like, I mean, I spent a lot of time just being held in his beautiful arms, so it wasn't that hard for me. I would like an Emmy for the costume designer. You get it. You get it. And the fact that we have not had a lot of Sith who were, dressed like a whore. We've had really Ventress, and then Maul when he like briefly was just had no shirt for some reason. I think they need to dress whorely more. Just saying.
I'm not to actually you. I think that Kylo Ren occasionally was dressed like a whore.
But no, I just mean in like showing skin.
Yeah, when he showed all of his tits.
Maybe he would have survived Rise of Skywalker if he'd shown a little more skin. In reference to that tweet talking about how Bernie Sanders could have won the election if he had shown a little more skin.
No.
No, but you're correct. No, the difference here is that Kylo Ren was getting dressed. That's not his normal outfit. That's the difference. He was mid getting dressed, is all I'm saying.
That's what they want you to think. In my new fan fiction. Welcome to Name That Ship. This is a segment wherein we celebrate the medium of fan fiction by searching the dark recesses of AO3, find just the most random, quirked up white boy ship, and have our friends guess what the ship is by reading them the other tags. This is no hate to fanfiction. In fact, we've brought several fanfictions that are just very powerful concepts that might just have a buck wild ship in them. It'd be like that sometimes. Creativity is wonderful. Everyone is so creative. And I also do want to plug that we do have a submission sheet. Basically, if you find something on the internet and you feel like we need to see it, you can send it to us. And that's linked in our show notes. Today, I'm kind of playing with form. This is a song fic. I want you to guess the song and the ship.
Oh, okay. So
I'm
like
so ready.
this
is good.
the stanzas, the verses of the song are interspersed with the fic. Is what we're saying, or is this inspiring the fic?
No.
Okay.
It's inspired by the fic. Yeah. Sorry. I just remembered what it is. It made me laugh. All right, here we go. So, this is a song that I know for a fact we all know. So jot that down.
365.
Got to go.
No. The relationships are character A and character B. Additional tags: mild smut, unrequited love, bisexual character A, light angst, song, ficklet.
Okay. So is this like a popular ship? Like more
we've-
than 1,000 fanfics?
I don't know if 1,000 fan fictions. Oh, whoa. Sorry. There's 401 exactly on AO3 at this
Okay.
very moment.
The two
Okay.
men.
No.
A man and a woman?
No.
2 women?
2 women.
Yuri?
And one's bisexual.
And one's bisexual.
Is it like are they like sequels characters?
No.
Are they Jedi?
No.
Is it Sabe and Padme?
It is Save and Padme.
Oh.
Now, guess what song this is?
Is it a Chapel
Could be
Roan
any
song?
song.
It is Chapel
Yes,
Roan.
it
Good
is.
luck, babe.
No.
It's not good
Is
luck.
it casual?
It is casual.
Not good luck.
It's not good luck, babe. This was written today.
That's so funny.
So, like,
I'm
peace and love-
obsessed with that.
Lumberjack Chad, I just am obsessed with your mind. And also followed by the fake starts, and it's basically like the lyrics is like knee deep in the passenger side. And I respect the shit out of that.
God
So
bless.
shout out Lumberjack Chad. Thank you for that. I opened AO3 today to go look for some fan fictions, and I was like, oh my gosh, so true. We need more fan fictions that are just like, we need to go back to our roots. We need to have like fan fictions that are just songs, but you've added the characters from your fandom of choice into said song. I think that's the best shit ever.
Yeah, we will be reading.
It's a very short, it's a ficklet. It's like 200 words, so.
Damn.
Is it casual now? Anyways, thanks for that casual transition, Melvin. I love referring to myself in the third person. I feel like I would be a really bad radio host.
You literally have had a podcast for 3 years.
Yeah. And?
I feel like I'd be a really bad radio host. Horrible news.
Hey, no one ever said this podcast is good. I'm sorry. If you think that, peace and love. Peace and love. The second fan fiction this evening I am bringing to the table. It's going to be so embarrassing if we've already done it and I just forgot. It's completely unrelated to anything. Additional tags. Fix it. Nobody dies. Well, that's not true now, I guess, but it's true in spirit. Order 66. Everyone is mad and there is a big fight. In 2 places at once. The insert group here are disasters, but now they are disasters with a grudge. Blank this group of people. And it's kind of like a spin on the values of this group of people.
Is it, I hate to ask, is it the clones?
No.
Oh.
Mandalorians.
No.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
The fanfiction is called "And When We Die, Our Legend Lives On." That's all
Is
the
it
information I'm
Denzel?
gonna give you. Like the alien from Very Important People,
It's not
as
Denzel.
played by
Okay,
Iffy.
I'm getting that it's not Denzel. Okay, is it Jedi that are that
It
group
is
of
Jedi.
people?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the
Okay.
problem, is that this ship, first of all, this is the only ship in the tag. Or the only tag in the only fic in the ship's tag. Oh, that's not true! There are 7 of them! What?
Okay.
Is it Kit Fisto and Plo Koon?
Okay.
Plo Koon is one of the
Wow!
characters.
Fuck yes!
Jesus, Ollie!
I swear to God, I'm not
is it
cheating,
2
guys.
men?
I'm just really good at this.
Is it 2 men?
It is not 2
So
men.
it's Plo Koon
Plo Koon
and
and a woman?
Okay, is this
Yes, it is.
another
Also
like
a Jedi?
prequels?
Not a Jedi, and a character from the prequels, yes.
Are they in the prequels or just around during the era?
Yes, in the prequels.
Like in the
Okay,
movies?
I'm trying to think of.
Yes,
Padme?
like pretty definitively so. No,
is
not
it Sache?
Padme. It is
Is
not
it one of the
Sache.
handmaidens?
Is it one of the?
No, it is not one of the handmaidens.
Other women in the prequels.
This is
Claudia's
hard-pressed.
googling. She's finding
Is
for
it
her
Mon
life.
Mothma?
It is non Mon Mothma. What the fuck? It is not Mon Mothma.
Okay, Plo Koon would treat her better than her fuck ass
No,
husband. though,
really.
So let's all be real.
Other.
Miss Andor. Just remembered Andor.
Why did I
Save me, Andor?
Why did I say Ventress?
Shmi.
It is Shmi Skywalker.
Oh! Okay.
The fact that they're
Please,
the fact that
please.
Please. Please.
Wait.
that is a sick reference to Come See Me Dance, or not Come See Me Dance. It's just See Me
Tell
Dance.
us the premise of the fic. I gotta know.
So Sor, the premise of the fan fiction is that the Jedi Order are the Sith? Question mark. So that's a great question. I don't quite understand what's going on here. Thank you so much for joining us this week for RuPaul's Pod Race. Keep an eye on your podcatcher of choice for new episodes every week. As a quick reminder, we're trying to raise money for a family to escape Gaza. We're trying to get Muhammad's fundraiser for himself, his daughter Noor, and mother Alia to at least 10K by the end of Pride Month. Link to their fundraiser is in our show notes. If you want updates, Star Wars news, and more curse shit, follow us on Instagram, Tumblr, TikTok, and Twitter at RuPaul's Pod Race. You can also send a question to our Tumblr Ask box or email us at RuPaul'sPodRace@gmail.com. If you love the show, you can rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave a comment on our YouTube channel, tell a friend about the podcast. It helps us, I guess. If you'd like to hear more of us, you can hear Jess as one of the cast members on the High Republic Tabletop RPG podcast for Light and Dice, and listen to the Mystery Spotcast, where Claudia and Ollie recap all of Supernatural, so you never have to watch it. Links to both of those shows are in the notes. May the Force be with you, and don't kriff it up.
Waka waka.
Waka, waka.